Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. Today I have another sweet and short video because I realized that I didn't make this video when I first started this channel. And you know, I review books, but I have never told you how I review the books. Yeah, it sounds dumb, but it's actually quite important. As you can probably tell, you have been here around for a bit. I'm mostly a mix between a critical reviewer and a enjoyment reviewer. We can call it that. So basically, enjoyment is a key factor when I review books. Because if the book is fantastic in a critical way, meaning the writing style and such, but then it does nothing for me, I won't give it a high score, because for me, a book should entertain me. That's a key factor. Without entertainment, the book, no. No. By the way, that's one of the main reasons why I don't read much non-fiction. I'm mostly I read so I can just escape, so that's probably one of the reasons why I don't read that much non-fiction, even though I do like non-fiction. But that's out of the way. This is going to be such a rambling video, I can already tell that. As you probably know, I use the star system because everyone uses the star system, and I don't want to be just special and have my own rating system, because that would be a mess. So to keep everything organized, I use the star rating that Goodreads has, basically. I use Goodreads as my main source of sorting books, searching books, and have them organized. I'm also trying to use Storygraph, but it's taking me a bit more. I don't know why I don't click that well with that, even though I'm not a huge fan of Goodreads. Yeah. I use the star system, 1 to 5, but I do use quarter stars and half stars, because using full stars is a mess. There's a huge difference between a 4.5 and a 4. There's a huge difference. There's such a huge gap there. I cannot use full stars, okay? No. So what I usually do when I'm putting my reviews on Goodreads is that I will read a book, and if it's I don't know, a 3.5, if I think that is closer to a 4 than a 3, I will just put a 4-star rating, and then on the review I will put it's actually 3.5, because not having half stars is a fucking mess. Greatest complaint of all time, I know, but still fucking mess. So I understand that not that many people use quarter stars, but I usually use them for 4.75, because sometimes a book could be a 5-star, but it's not. It's still really close, so I'm just yeah, 4.75. It's just so close there, so close that it could be perfect, but it's not yet. So having said that, let's just go through all the different stars. So for me, 1 star is a fucking terrible book. I don't know why I did that to myself. What was I thinking? Garbage. It's just bad. It's a bad book. I rarely give any 1 stars because I'm more of a positive reviewer, so I usually find something that will at least bump it up to 2 stars at least, because if not, it's going to be a mess. 1-star book I won't recommend to anyone. Then let's go to the 2 stars. So again, I don't give that much 2 stars because I don't read that many bad books, so it's not usually what happened. I did give but I gave 2 stars to a book that I have recently read, The Splinter Silence, because it was a mess. It was a mess. It was supposed to be a sci-fi horror book, but instead it's just this girl being oh, everything is going to collapse in this station that now I'm just the boss of, even though she's a teenager. That's another thing. And then she's just thinking all the time about this guy who kisses her at the beginning of the book, and it was making me so mad. 2 stars are books that make me mad. Something like The Inheritance Games, this Splinter Silence, something like that, it's just a mess. It might be suitable for other readers. I mean, ton of people like the Inheritance games, but for me they were a mess. For my personal preference, they were a mess. I didn't like them at all. In fact, they probably made me like really mad. Like really mad. Probably. Let's just go to the 3 stars. So for me, 3 stars is not a bad rating at all. It's the middle of the road. It's just like, yeah, it was okay. It wasn't just like great. It didn't have like anything completely wrong. So I'm just like, okay, if it's a 3 star, it will take me a while to decide if I'm going to continue with this series. For example, I did give, are they here? I did give the Bone season 3 stars, but I still continue with the series. I read the 2nd book and I'm about to read the 3rd book because the 4th one is coming out. So you see, the 3 stars is more of a, I'll see what I'll do, you know? It wasn't bad, it wasn't fantastic, it wasn't great. It was average. Literally average. Maybe there was something that I did enjoy, but there were things that I really like. So, you know, it has a little bit of everything, and that makes a book average, basically. Then we go to the 4 stars, and I'm a person who gives a lot of 4 stars. I have experimented a lot with books in the past. So right now I'm 25 years old. I've been reading since I was 9 in a constant, it wasn't like, you know, sometimes you don't read as much, but I've always been reading basically. So right now I really know what I like and what I don't. So it's really weird for me to stray from that, you know, to get away from that, to try really something that I don't think that I'm going to like. So for example, when I tried the Inheritance games, I thought that I was going to like it. I wasn't expecting hating it, like at all. That's what made me so mad and why they gave it 2 stars, because I wasn't expecting that. But most of the books I read, I gave 4 stars because I bought them knowing that I was going to enjoy them. They were not 5 stars because, you know, for some reason they weren't perfect, but something there was good enough for me to think that the book was great, to really like it, and to continue with the series. If I give a book 4 stars, I will 100% continue with the series. It might take me a bit, you know, I read a lot of books, so it might take me a bit, but I will 100% continue. So a 4 star for me is a great, solid book. It's not like just like average, it's good. It's a book that I will recommend to mostly everyone, and if it has something that concerns me a bit, I will just recommend it and then say just like, hey, beware of that, that was a little bit meh, but the rest is great. So 4 stars, fantastic. Most of my reads are 4 stars. I do get the occasional 5 stars, or at least once a month, but 4 stars is just like the average for me because, you know, I know what I like. So I don't experiment that much. Though I have to say that since I've been doing BookTube, I have experimented a little bit more, but sometimes it's been a mess, sometimes it's been fantastic, but in the great scheme of things, it's still pretty good. So I still, I think I have like an average rating of 4.2 or something, but yeah, 4 stars is my usual thing. So then we go to the 5 stars. 5 stars for me is a fantastic book, like probably is going to be a favorite of all time, or if it's not, it's a fantastic conclusion to a series. For example, that happened to me recently with The Light of All That Falls. Everything came so nicely together that it made the series whole, and it made it like great. The series has passed as one of my favorite series of all time, though I don't think the book is perfect by any means. I do think that it drags a bit at the beginning, but everything is so well thought out that I gave it 5 stars because that conclusion was extremely satisfying, like extremely satisfying. So you have that thing. It's basically because I thought that it was a great ending. I thought that all the different elements of the book were fantastic. I highly enjoyed it, or it became a favorite. Those are the 3 options. I did the same thing with The Light of All That Falls that with The Burning God. It wasn't my favorite book on the series, but I thought it was amazing. So 5 stars for it. I always try to warn you when I do that because, you know, different tastes and such, but I love great conclusions. I cannot help it. That's basically the rating that I use, but in what do I base that rating? So I have four things as most people do, basically. So we have characters, writing style, world building, and plot. Let me tell you something right off the bat. I'm a plot reader. I'm a plot-driven person. I have to have a plot. If a book doesn't have a plot or is really, really loose, I'm not going to enjoy it. Maybe if the characters are strong enough, I will like it, but it's not going to be a favorite. It's not going to be a book that I will remember all the time. The only kind of exception that we have to this rule is The Lies of Locke, because even though it's a mostly character-driven book, it has enough plot for me to still enjoy it. But for me, plot is one of the number one things that a book needs. If it doesn't have a plot, it's going to be a mess for me. I will try and push it because I don't usually DNF books. It's not like something that I do. I will push through a book just to see if the ending can redeem it. But still, I need plot. Plot is one of my number one priorities. My second priority is world building. I read a ton of fantasies. Fantasy and sci-fi are my most read genres. So I need world building. If I don't have world building, we are done. We're not going with that again. It's just like, no, I need world building. I like explanations. The more explanation that you have, the better for me. I don't care if it's info dumping. I just really like to know everything. So that's why I really like, for example, the Arcane Ascension trilogy, because the magic is explained constantly. And you have new things about the magic all the time. So that's something that I really, really like. And I always put the magic system inside the world building. I don't classify them separately because I don't care if you have like a fucking great magic system. If you don't tell me anything about the world, I don't care. Like, I don't care. So for me, they are really conjoined. I always put magic system inside the world building. There's no one without the other for me. So yeah. The thing that I'm kind of more meh about are characters. I do like good characters. For example, the Sword of Kaigen has great characters. It's not like a really that plot of driven of a book. Like, it's mostly character driven. When characters are done great, I will like it. I will like it. Just it's a good plus, but I can have flat characters. If the story is great, I can read flat characters. I just don't give a fuck. I'm just like, so when I tell you that I love a character, I did really love him. Like, it made a strong enough impression on me for me to say to you that I liked it. So, over the top, like, character, you know? But still, characters, it's just like, I'm a plot-driven reader. That's it. I need plot. I need plot. Characters are secondary things for me. And then let's talk about the writing style. I don't give a fuck about the writing style. Like, I couldn't care less. It could be dry as hell. It could be lyrical. It could be just like ordinary. I don't care. Straight to the point. I don't care. The only time that I take into account the writing style is when I don't like a book, but I still think that technically the book is good. So for example, if you're new here, surprise, I low-key hate The Name of the Wind. I just cannot. I cannot. But I didn't give it 1 star or 2. I gave it 3 stars. And the reason is that even though I didn't like the plot, I just can't. I hate quotes. It's just like, what a dumb bitch. That could be another video, but no. Technically, I think that The Name of the Wind is a great book in the technically point, in the technical aspects, you know? For example, I think that Patrick Rothfuss has a beautiful writing style. I think he has a way to communicate the imagery, the situation perfectly. You're able to imagine everything, the world building was solid enough, but as I told you, I didn't like it. So it's not fair, in my opinion. You can rate your books whatever you like. In my opinion, it wasn't fair to give the book just like 2 stars, because in reality, it is not. It's just a matter of taste, of what is inside the story, you know? So, for example, in those situations, I will always evaluate the writing style in a positive way. So I will never just rate a book lower because of the writing style, because I just don't care. I don't care. I read a lot of self-published books, and usually the weakest point tends to be the writing style, so I just don't care. It's not important for me. I will tell you if I find like a book that's really lyrical or the prose is beautiful, I will just tell you, but I'm not having that in mind when I rate the book. For example, I think Lena Taylor has a beautiful writing style, but I love Strange the Dreamer for the story of Strange the Dreamer, not because of the writing style. And that's probably why Muse of Nightmares has a lower rating than Strange the Dreamer, because Muse of Nightmares still has the same writing style that is beautiful, but the plot wasn't good enough for me to just like it as much. Yeah, it's complicated. I know. I just make everything more complicated than it should be. I know. I'm sorry. And the last thing that I want to talk about is that I do not rate DNFs. If I DNF a book, I will just put read on Goodreads and that's it. I will tell you, yeah, I just no. Or I will just delete it from my shelf and just be like, I want to forget about it. Because I just DNF so few books that it's just like, why would I rate that if I didn't finish it? Like, I know that a ton of people rate DNFs, but I just don't, because it's not something that I usually do. That's it. If you do, go ahead. But yeah, that was basically all. A huge bunch of I don't care. I'm so simple rating books. Like, if I like it, that's it. I'm not like a critical reader that would just be thinking about everything that's in the book. Like, if I had a great time, I will give it a good rating. It's just like, simple as that. That's it. But that's going to be all for this video. Do you use half stars? Please tell me you do, because if not, I will lose my mind. But if you have a special rating system or something like that, or something that you do differently, please let me know down in the comments below. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.